Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Discover a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Hi, Meghan.
Hello. Happy New Year. Whee! 2023, the year I've thought it's been for the last 4 or 5 months.
Really? Because I keep thinking like 2023, that's so long away.
Oh, no. I'm like, 2021 didn't exist. 2022, 3.5 years long. 2023, thought you were already here. 2020, RIP. We can't even talk about that. They've been dark and they've been progressively getting lighter, but like that was a dark point.
It was a really unknown time. You know, like you just didn't know what was going to happen.
No, like, and I just like kind of want to go back and like talk to like naive little me who like right before the like quote unquote lockdown, because it's America, it wasn't like a true lockdown. We were planning for Lily's birthday party, and it was like we were all going to go stay at this house. And I just remember like someone being like, I don't know, maybe this thing is like a real thing. And I got my lashes done, and then suddenly it was like, oh, psych, it's not happening. And then after that, it's just a blur. Whipped coffee, banana bread.
Yeah, I remember that gross gym that we went to, and I said, I'm not going because of COVID. And you were like, do you remember this gym?
I have an idea in my head of which one you're talking about.
Me, you, and Shireen went to it, and it had different stations. Yes. Yeah. And we went to it one time, and it was disgusting. And you're like, let's go back. And I said, no.
Yeah, because it has very little points on class pass. It's cheap.
And you said, no, you were like, if it goes somewhere, it's going to be at one of the bougie gyms because, you know, those people are traveling internationally. And I said, that's not how disease work.
Wait, can we just talk about like that's like the opposite of people being like, if I go to a nice place, like, you know, I'll be safe. I'm just like, don't go to those nice places. Stay with we're staying domestic. Yeah, you know, I just like looking back on all of it. Like, I don't want to call like you're a hypochondriac, but you're also just very germ aware. Like, and that's not a bad thing.
Yeah, I was thinking about this because like today I posted something about people wearing shoes indoors. And I was thinking, am I a germaphobe or am I just hyper aware of science?
I mean, I think both could be true at the same time. Like, I don't think you're a hypochondriac. Like, I think you're like...
Yeah. I'm a realist when it comes to, like, I don't make up things that are wrong with me. That's what a hypochondriac is.
Yeah, no,
like,
so you're right. Germaphobe is the word I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So I don't think that you have an irrational fear of germs. I think you have a rational fear because you have more education around them. And will I say that in other prior to this, was it kind of just like a little bit of a buzzkill? Yeah. Would I ever not listen to you again? No. Like it, oh my God. Like just the you being like, no, well, it's going to be like this and it's going to be like this. But I was just kind of like, I don't like that. So I'm just going to pretend that it's not that. And then finally you were like, so it is that. And I was like, okay, I apologize. And I will not be doing that.
There was a video that we recorded and it never got posted of us talking about it. And you were just so lackadaisy. And I was like, no, we got to get our shit together. And I need to find that video because I just want to watch it. I think it's deleted, but I just want to watch it too.
It was me and the guest,
to see the different. No, it was just me and you. We were going to do it as it was just going to be something that we're going to post on Instagram. And we were just sitting on the couch talking. And it was like 5 minutes long. And I just watched it. We just come back from one of our bathroom trips and I just thoroughly washed my hand. And you were like joking about touching me. And I was like, I'm okay because like we just washed our hands. So yeah.
Yeah, no, it's bad.
Because I think the lockdown was the next week. So then we're like, nope, not posting this.
Can't do that.
Yeah.
No, but like I have to say that like I love our manager to death. She's a hypochondriac.
She is a hypochondriac.
And so when the only two people in my life who are like really talking about this thing, also to be fair, I don't have that many people in my life. So like it's the overwhelming majority is just the hypochondriac was kind of discrediting. And I was just like, bah. But I remember she was telling me, she was like, oh my God, this, and this. And I was like, okay. And she was being very extra. And then you were saying something and like, it was like this little part of my brain that went, well, you know, there's a little, that makes me second guess some things. And I was like, no, I don't like that. So, you know, I'm glad though that I was able to recognize as soon as shit hit the fan. Like,
yeah.
Okay. As opposed to those idiots who just like doubled down in that where it's like, I don't know anything. Like I'm uneducated about this and I was blissfully ignorant. And when I could no longer be blissfully ignorant, I wasn't going to be like intentionally, willfully ignorant.
Yeah. As soon as you realized that how bad it was going to be, it was like, nope, we're absolutely not seeing each other. And I was
like, no, this was a fat no, fat fucking no. So, wow. Oh, what a journey it's been.
Yeah.
You should watch the video so you can see me with my cute little mittens. Aha. Anyways, happy 2023, everyone. And this is not our first episode of the year, but it's our first episode we're recording in the new year. So welcome to But Am I Wrong? A podcast with two people who, it's kind of hard for me to say have never been wrong because I just said I like was kind of like, yeah, COVID at the beginning. But, you know, have never been wrong this year. I have yet to be wrong this year.
Okay. I'll take that.
Is that impressive?
Today is January 3rd.
Don't tell them. It's been 3 whole days of being just constantly right. Well, should we explain what this podcast is?
How do we participate in this show? There's 3 different segments. We'll explain them before each segment and let's go. First segment up is called But Am I Wrong? And that's when we pick things in our lives or hot takes that we have that we may be wrong about. Mine. January 15th. It's Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s birthday. And in the U.S., the third Monday in January is a federal holiday that we observe Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And this one is on January 16th. So this upcoming Monday. My hot take is that white people shouldn't treat MLK Day like a long extended vacation weekend, especially if they aren't putting in the work towards civil rights throughout the year.
You're not wrong.
So I say this as someone who was a kid that was part of the King team, that was a leadership, it still is a leadership organization that instills the values of Dr. King. And throughout the year, we would not just talk about making our community better, but we would do volunteer work and community service. And most of you know that I grew up in a majority white area. And at the time when I was a kid, we did not get the King holiday off from school. So the adult sector of that organization, which also included a lot of people that worked in education for the school districts. They would write us a note that we had an excused absence, and everyone on the King team would essentially boycott going to school because why were we there? But it wasn't a day off, it was a day on. So we'd start out the morning by having like a prayer breakfast with community leaders, followed by doing some community service. Then we had a march on a major street, which at the time was called College Avenue, but now it's called Martin Luther King Jr. Street, when that was in remembrance of all the civil rights marches. Then we'd have some time to have fun activities because the day is also a day of joy. And then in the evening, we'd have this dressy banquet where community leaders speak and thousands of dollars in scholarships were given out to college students, as well as giving people awards for like being exemplary in the community and continuing Dr. King's dream. Because of the work of the King team now, everybody in the school districts in Northwest Arkansas get that day off. But it makes me really uneasy to see white people everywhere, not just in Arkansas, but everywhere. I'm including people in LA, treat this like it's any other holiday. And I've heard several people in LA talking about how they're taking vacation that day. For Black people, I understand we do emotional labor every freaking day by just existing. So if we need to take a little break, go for it. But white people, what are you actually doing what are you actually celebrating if you aren't reflecting on the strides of the civil rights movement and where we are today as a society and how much more we have to go? And I'm not just talking about like reposting some Dr. King quote out of connotation. Like, what actual work are you doing? And do you know that Dr. King is more than just the I Have a Dream speech? I personally believe that Martin Luther King Jr. Day should be officially the National Martin Luther King Jr. Day of Service. And this was actually started by former Pennsylvania U.S. Senator Harris Wofford and John Lewis, RIP, who they co-authored the King Holiday and Service Act. And the federal legislation challenges Americans to transform the King holiday into a day of citizen action of volunteering in honor of Dr. King. And so the federal legislation was signed into law by President Bill Clinton in August of 1994. And since 1996, Wofford and Tom Berenstein have been like continuing to do this. But like, why isn't everyone doing this everywhere? And also, like, you just came back from winter holiday break anyway. What do you need a vacation from? Seriously.
The celebratory part. As a white person, I'm like, so what are we celebrate? Like, what? Like,
what? Yeah, like, didn't you go up, like, going to, like, a Black church on that day?
Yeah, that was the first time I went to church in my life. And I said, Dad, I love it here. I want to come here all the time. And he said, this is not for you, but I'm glad you had a good time. I was like, this is amazing. I think I believe in God. And he goes, again, not for you, but I'm happy you had a good time. Like, I think about that all the time, that like if I didn't grow up with like the parent that I had, my experience and worldview would be like so fucking different. But it's just the definition of like, you know, performative. Like you don't have to, you should be, as a white person, I'm like, we got to get comfortable being uncomfortable. But also like you can like look at all of the work that he's done and been like, oh, wow, this is so amazing. I'm going to be inspired by, he's so many, had so many fucking like pillars of community and service and things that like spanned all different things. And it's like, oh, okay, how can I, even if it's not, you want to volunteer in something that's like very specific, but like, how can I be inspired by this and then do something, whether it's, you know, volunteering, whether it's a community outreach, whether it's like just doing anything reflective. That's not painful. Like that's also still like a good, like a nice experience. And it's just odd. And it will always be odd to me too, how the misquotes, especially on Martin Luther King Day, where she goes, are you going to add the next sentence there? Because the next sentence there is like what's really important. And you're just cherry picking these sort of things. Moral of the story, you're not wrong at all. Okay. I have a hot take. And my hot take is Dippin Dots are not ice cream of the future. And that's because it's the future. I have been a consumer, a fan, a viewer, a spectator of Dippin' Dots since they came on the scene, however many years ago. Futuristic little ice cream balls. The astronauts eat them. Yeah, so me, as an 8-year-old, I'm literally and figuratively eating that shit up. And I also bought into the marketing ploy that it's ice cream of the future. And here I am, 20-something odd years later, looking around. We've got Teslas. Jeff Bezos is going to the moon, wearing a cowboy hat, which I will never get that image out of my head. And we've got electric cars that you plug in and you charge. We have private jets, not personally, that you fly to get from place to place. We have a wireless AirPod headphones. I can airdrop from my phone to my computer. I can order groceries on my phone and have them delivered. But you know what's not getting delivered in my grocery order? Dippin' Dots, because they're not the ice cream of the future. They're the fucking ice cream of Six Flags. And I feel lied to, I feel manipulated, and I feel rejected because I'm kind of here for Dippin' Dots ice cream of the future. And I think if Dippin' Dots had more money, which I definitely don't think they do, I think that they should get rid of all other ice cream just for like a week or a day and just replace it all as like a giant April Fool's prank where you want to get ice cream and it's just Dippin' Dots and we just gaslight everybody. You're like, no, this is ice cream. Like, this is the ice cream of the future. Like, we actually, like, the calendar year of the future began today. And so therefore this is the only thing that's going to be served. Is it the worst marketing ploy ever, or is it the best?
I am a big fan of Dippin' Dots, so much that I made a little jingle to it that went, Dippin' Dots, the ice cream of the future. Dippin' Dots, the ice cream of the future. Big fan.
Okay, Whitney.
Thank you. And I like how they feel on in my mouth. I like the little dots. But do they still say that they're the ice cream of the future?
Hold up. That's a good point. Let's fucking see. Wait, we're going to have to go through the flavors after this. Okay. There's also, like, I just have to say, like, if anybody wants hard to find nostalgia, move to Los Angeles, because Los Angeles, like, will not let those things die. Like, you can get Dippin' Dots here.
I want you to look at the recipes. And I want
it's nitrogen,
on the Dippin'
isn't it?
Dots. No, the Dippin' Dots website has a recipe tab, and I want you to look at it.
Hold up. Before we get there, I just need you to know, I looked up Dippin' Dots ice cream, and I'm suddenly on a website that says getyoked.com. And I need to get this link. Show me the link. Oh my God. This is not real. Is this real? They made Dippin' Dots protein. Like,
seriously?
Whey powder protein.
Send it to me, please.
Your digestion can't do that.
I know. I just want to see it.
Okay, so now I'm supposed to go to Dippin' Dots and then look at the recipes you said? Melissa, this looks like a bad fucking Twilight book club dessert. Everybody just know that it is a New Year's Eve mocktail. And this was definitely taken on a, like, point and shoot digital camera. We've just upped the sharpness. There is no filter. There's no coloring on this. And it is sparkling red grape juice and then half a cup of vanilla Dippin' Dots, which I'm not going to lie to you. That sounds fucking, don't lie that says that sound bad. That does not sound bad.
It does sound awful. Grapes and vanilla ice cream, disgusting.
Okay, well, I don't like grape juice, but if I pictured it like apple, like sparkling apple cider, then that's like apple pie.
Yeah,
that could be good. Gingerbread trifle, it's just layers of different Dippin' Dots.
The frozen hot chocolate looks delicious.
Yeah. Okay, wait, now it's just saying the original and unbeatable flash frozen ice cream sensation. Your tasty adventure
I don't
awaits.
I don't think they call it the ice cream of the future anymore. I think the future
that was
is now.
Humbling for them.
Yeah, the future is now, and they're like, we got to drop it.
It didn't happen. And you know what? We tried to manifest it and it didn't work. Also, it was invented in the 1980s. So, like, they really hung on to that future thing for, like, a fucking while. Because I wasn't born until the 90s and I wasn't having Dippin' Dots until probably the late 90s, usually probably early 2000s. Shut the fuck up. Hold up. Melissa, you can't even store this in a home freezer. It has to be stored
you have
under
to have a Dippin'
40.
Dots freezer.
Wait, that's so funny. Wow. So I also think that their mascot, I think, is supposed to be Bigfoot. And it's pretty cute, but it is a little alarming. And I just, again, I don't know if...
Is it Bigfoot or a Yeti?
So are those different?
I think so, because I think Bigfoot is usually like forest stuff and then like, or the abominable snowman. That's what I mean.
So all three of those things are not the same thing.
I think Yeti and abominable snowman may be the same, but Bigfoot is different.
Are Yetis real?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, Bigfoot and the Yeti / abominable snowman are not the same. But the abominable snowman and Yeti are the same.
Okay.
But they look one is like the cold version, one's the warm version.
One he's wearing a summer hat, one he's bundled up. AKA he just grew some fur. It's just hard for me to follow the lore of all of these giant, mystical, huge, furry beings living in the forest that none of them are real, but the fact that there are separate lores and myths of these different ones.
Bigfoot and Sasquatch are the same. Yeti and abominable snowman are the same.
That makes sense.
I kind of want to get, because they have the franchise information, and I kind of want to get just one of the little freezers and sell Dippin Dots out of it.
No, is that going to be our next, franchise it? We're going to franchise Dippin Dots.
Because they have different ones. You can get like an actual storefront, you can get a food truck, or you can get the little freezer. Or you can just like have it for catering or fundraising.
Maybe we should add it to our future food truck with corn dogs and turkey legs and Dippin' Dots. We're getting the underrepresented fair foods. Well, I just want you to know that if we want to go, we could go to Westfield and Santa Anita. We could go to West Covina, California. Or we could also go to Ontario Mills Mall. Shout out Riverside, baby. It's a great time.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's why I have such passionate feelings as someone who frequented Ontario Mall.
The mall right here in Fayetteville has it. That's where I first had them.
What's your favorite flavor?
I like chocolate and cookies and cream. Like, that's my favorite flavor across the board anywhere. And then if they had nuts, throw on some nuts in there.
I was a chocolate, or I sometimes do half chocolate, half strawberry, which I liked. Or if I was feeling wild, or if I was with someone who I knew wasn't going to finish theirs and we could swap, I would do banana split. But I can't do too much banana split. But it's like fun. It's like a crazy experience.
Do you like putting the balls in your mouth and letting them melt, or do you smash them down and then eat them? Or do you put it in your mouth and then smash it with your tongue?
I think I probably did a combination. I don't remember what it was exactly, but like, I'm not going to just like completely eradicate the ball experience. Like, I'm going to let those balls be in my mouth for a bit. I'm going to enjoy the balls in my mouth. I'm going to roll those balls around in my mouth, and then I'm going to eat them. So I'm sure I I toyed around with different techniques with said balls, but I wasn't just trying to like shorten that beautiful experience.
Yeah. See, I like the first couple spoonfuls, just the balls, but then you can't really taste it when you just do it. So then I smash it, the rest of it. But I like the consistency when it's smashed too. So consistently, like none other.
It's an experience too. Like it's a sensation. I don't remember the word I'm thinking of, but like, it's performance art. It is a hands-on flavor explosion experience. And I just don't know why Guy Fieri has not gotten in on this, because I feel like it fits with his brand. Welcome to Flavortown.
Yeah.
Anyways,
well, I mean, they did drop the ice cream of the future. It's not listed anywhere on their website. So you weren't wrong, because it's really not that I didn't overtake. Like, there weren't a lot of I have seen copycats, but I haven't seen enough for it to be considered the ice cream of the future.
I don't think it's influencing anyone.
No.
But I love it still.
It's more of a novelty.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. No one's like Dippin' Dots is like where I want to go for my ice cream, unless it's just there.
No, because it's not about the ice cream. It's about the experience. And I would love to have some astronauts weigh in.
But also, this could be another one, but that freeze-dried astronaut ice cream that, like, you can go to when you go to the NASA place or
I thought Dippin Dots was like the official NASA sponsor.
no, there's a free dried ice cream that they make you believe that it's because you can't take that into space.
I always thought it was so messy, but I was like, I guess that's what they do.
But then they have these freeze dried ice creams that when you go to the NASA center, and then they sell it at some fairs and stuff, and they say that this is what astronauts eat, and they're like, we don't actually eat that either. It's all a scam. If you want just like an ice cream flavor of something, it actually tastes pretty good, but it's not cold or it's kind of creamy.
No,
because it melts in your mouth.
Respect to the astronauts and respect to the hustle and the perseverance of Dippin' Dots. Like, I appreciate you for not giving up on your dreams and evolving. I do think you could evolve a little bit more, but we are ready to talk about franchise options.
Contact us.
Link in bio.
All right, let's take a break. Back from our break, and right now it's time for But Are You Wrong? And that's when y'all write into butamiwrongpod@gmail.com to tell us about situations in your life that you might be the villain in, and we vote. But the best part is, which we forgot to mention at the beginning of the show, is that y'all get to vote on everything that we discuss on our Instagram at Meghan and Melisa. When they go up, who knows?
Check the link.
Yeah. Check the link, but write into butamiwrongpod@gmail.com. Keep it to 300 words or less. If it's not, you will get an email back that says, tighten this shit up. If you would like to include pronouns, do always include ages and always include specific examples.
Give us a tea. Give us the drama. That's why we made a podcast gossiping about other people's lives. Like, you got to give us the fucking gossip.
Writer number 1. So I'm 26 and use she, her pronouns. 2 good friends of mine are getting married. Renee, 30, she, her, and Frank, 28, he, him. We were in the same theater department in undergrad, so I've been friends with them both for about 8 years now. I was at dinner with Frank and other friend of ours, and the wedding was brought up, and he asked me to be an usher. He then started telling me that the other usher is someone he has been family friends with since childhood, Mark, he, him. Frank felt bad that he didn't ask Mark to be a groomsman, so they came up with the idea to add ushers to include him. When thinking about who to add as the second usher, they thought of me. I don't know too much about weddings, so I don't really know what an usher does in the context, but I am happy to help out, so I said yes. Also, recently, Renee mentioned unprompted that she didn't ask me to be in the party because she didn't know if I'd be uncomfortable with the rest of the group, which is an odd reason since I'm varying levels of friends with the 3 of them. I honestly didn't even expect to be in either wedding party, and they aren't doing anything huge or extravagant, so I wasn't upset when I wasn't asked. With the backstory of adding Mark basically out of pity and Renee's comment, I can't help but think that's the reason they thought of me to do it too. Am I wrong for thinking that they asked me to be an usher out of pity? Thanks for your opinion. Stay cunty in a good way.
Always a good way.
Always a good way. I don't think you're wrong for this because they told you that.
Yeah,
that's what they
weird on their end.
Yeah, they just shouldn't have told you that. The reasoning behind it, they should have just said, hey, we'd like you to be part, because the usher is still technically part of the party. Like, we'd like you to be, they're just not part of, like, depending on if they're using traditional old school words, the bridal or the bachelor party, but you're still part of the wedding party. So I think it's weird that they told you the reasoning. They should have just asked you, and that should have just been it. This is weird. Also, what the usher does, it depends on the wedding. It seems like it's not a very big wedding. Sometimes the ushers are just like there to greet people when they get there and say, hey, there's the sign in registry, whatever the fucking wedding book thing, go sign that and then go sit down. And that's it.
Maybe in this age, an usher will also have all of the guests film a TikTok on their way in. Like maybe the usher is the social media manager of the wedding.
Maybe.
This is just so, I'm with you. Like, this is just so odd. Like, I think like wanting to find and give like the people in your life who you're close to kind of like a special like thing for your wedding to kind of show. The whole point of that is to show that you really care about them, or it's supposed to be. Sometimes people do it because like they're like, I need some people to help out and it's more about me. But you know, in a lot of cases, they want to be like, I want you to feel like you're not just a guest. I want you to know how important you are. But then you can't say that it was essentially like, oh, we were trying to figure, because like I could see it worded in a different way where it's like, well, you know, like we don't want to have too many like people in the wedding, in the bridal and groom party, again, if you're using those terms, because they only have like partner only has 3 and I can't add more to mine. And like, it would just make everything unbalanced. There's not really enough room to stand up there. So we're trying to find other things that have significance, emotional there for us to like let the other people in our lives who would be up there with us. Like that is totally fine and an assumed thing when I think people are giving all these other kind of just titles that aren't necessarily like, oh, I need you to make me a wedding cake. Like that are just more, you know, not ceremonial, but like, whatever, ceremonial, I guess, like titles that just don't have to mean, they're more of an emotional meaning.
Because I've been to weddings where like the ushers really didn't do anything, but it was more just to include them into the party.
I don't know if I've ever been to a wedding with ushers, but every wedding I've been to could have had ushers and I just didn't really notice. Like it's kind of a vanity. It can be any wedding party title can be just a vanity title. But in order for there to be some vanity there, you need to polish it up. You need to shine it. You need to not make it imply it's a pity.
Not even implied. They specifically said it.
No, I know, but they specifically said it was essentially a pity I invite for the other person. And so then, therefore,
it would be
logical to infer that the secondary person would also feel that. So not wrong at all. Hi, Meghan and Melissa. Love you and wanted to wish you both happy holidays. I, they, them, 21. Don't know if I'm wrong for this, so here I am. For context, I am POC and my partner, she, they, any, is white. I'm a Sagittarius and they're a Scorpio. I study ethnic studies, so I spend a lot of time analyzing, reading, theorizing about colonialism, imperialism, racism, etc., etc. I'm very outspoken and make my opinion pretty known. So when things rub me the wrong way, best believe I'll say it. This has happened a few times where I'll make remarks like, white people are so weird, or I hate white people, categorically, not individually, you know? And my partner takes it very seriously and gets a little offended. She'll ask me why we're together if I feel that way. Other times people will say fucked up things. So I'll be like, yeah, that was racist, colonial, imperial, or I'll rant about systemic things. And my partner will respond with, yeah, that's fucked up, but seems hesitant to name how it was fucked up. I think this has to do with her whiteness and privilege. So is this a me problem? Am I wrong for saying that I hate white people and that they're weird? Am I wrong for thinking that she hasn't fully, truly grasped the gravity of the situation? I am 98% sure I'm right all the time, but sometimes I can be wrong. So thank you for reading. And I hope you're both getting some lovely rest this holiday season too. No, you're not wrong.
That's like us talking about men. Like
that's what I was exactly going to say. Like,
and you talk about white people and I talk about white people.
As a white person, like, we are fucking weird. Like, white people are weird. Like, the whole thing of like, oh, white people don't shower, they're unclean, they don't wash their kids. That's a fact. Is it a weird fact? Yeah. But like, that doesn't, this whole notion that like your partner needing to feel like they need to separate themselves, like that to me is kind of a red flag. Because if I'm like, oh my God, fuck Andrew Tate, fuck all men, and Moss goes, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm like, I'm sorry, you're equating yourself to Andrew Tate? Like, that's what that means. Or if you're talking about like, oh, wow, fuck that rapist, fuck all men. And it's like, whoa, whoa, whoa. And it's like, again, so I said, I'm talking about a rapist here. And obviously the generalization of men who are sexually abusive. And you find that personally offensive. Red flag. Red flag. Yeah. So like.
Not all white people.
Not all white people. But like. This is just, no, like, this is just, like, so fucking embarrassing. Like, imagine just being, like, imagine if you said, like, I fucking hate white people. And I go, well, what about me? Like, what, do you want to cancel the podcast because I'm white? Like, do you not want to do this anymore? Do you, like, not want to be friends with me? Like, It's just so backwards. And I'm not telling you to like, dump your partner, but that whiteness privilege, like, yeah, that's what's coming into play here. And that's like it's the white fragility. But the fact that you're literally an ethnic studies major and this is like a reoccurring conversation, either they're going to learn or they're not. And I think like, I'm not a big fan of ultimatums, that I'd be like, okay, you are becoming one of those weird white people. So like, can you like get your shit together, or like, I'm done. This is an example of white people being weird.
Have they read White Fragility?
It's not that long.
Take the book, read it. No.
Like, come on. Like, this is a prime example of white people being weird. We are weird. We are weird.
White people.
I was just about to list a bunch of like various weird white people.
We're good. We know. All right. My turn to read. Number 2. Hi, Eminem. I'm 26-year-old, she, her pronouns. I broke up with my ex-boyfriend, 32-year-old, he, him pronouns, in December of 2021. We dated for 1 year and 3 months. Oh, I should say trigger warning on here for sex offenders. We dated for 1 year and 3 months and moved in together after 9 months. Way too fast. I know. Trust me. I know. We broke up because he hid from me that he had 3 DUIs and a conviction for the sexual coercion of a minor. So yeah, he's a sex offender. I found out when he tried to hide a piece of mail from me that came from the state police for him to re-register as a sex offender for the year. I broke up with him as soon as I found out, and we lived together, moved out 2 weeks after the breakup. Here's the thing. I left behind a couple of items that I would like back. I'm moving out of the town we both live in, and I want 2 specific items I left behind. My skis and a mirror my parents gave me. It comes from our home country. We immigrated to the U.S. when I was 13. One of these items is very sentimental, and the skis are expensive to replace. I don't want to see him again to pick these items up. Would it be wrong to ask if a friend of mine could swing by and grab them for me so I don't have to see him? What would you do? Thank you. Love the pods. I've been following Meghan since 2011. Hope y'all are doing well.
Wow, it's a very long time.
I'm so sorry. I don't think you're wrong for asking a friend, but I just need you to make sure that the friend is comfortable going over there. And they should know all the information. They can't just go in there without knowing anything. They need to know all the info.
Yeah. Like, I would without a doubt do this for a friend, but like, I would ask questions and be like, oh, okay. Like, was there any violent history? Like, do you think that there's a chance that like he could get physically violent? Because I'm just going to bring more people with me, and I'm going to have a friend who's got their cell phone out and ready to dial. Like, I'm going to make sure that like I'm protected when I'm doing this. And I still, even if it was like, oh no, I don't think he would be violent, I'd still go with, backup and have multiple people there and all of that. But I don't think it's wrong at all, as long as they're informed of like what is happening. And if not, I've heard from TikTok and Reddit that local biker communities love to be able to like help out specifically like women, but people who are in situations where they might potentially be in danger or have been around someone who is like abusive sexually or emotionally or not. That's part of, I don't want to say their creed, but maybe it's just like a social kind of norm within those groups to be very open, and people just like really kind of just reach out, cold email, cold call, cold reach out, talk to them and ask if they could help out. And it's something that like they, I guess, like do a lot. So
yeah.
That could also be helpful. And I'm sure there could also be any other like organizations in your area. I'm sure you could honestly even call like a domestic violence shelter and be like, hey, so this doesn't fall under this necessarily. Could you point me in the direction of some information on like what's the safest way for me to obtain some of my possessions? Like whether you have your own personal advice or you have a connection to a different organization that might be able to like help me out. Because all that stuff is like so intimately connected, and a lot of people who work in those fields will like know that and then be able to either offer you information or direct you to people who can.
Yeah.
But fuck, that's like, oh my gosh, that's horrific.
Yeah, it really is.
But it's just I mean, I just, not that you're blaming yourself at all, but those kinds of sick people, we all think that like we would know, but most people are going to know they're being like abused or like you're going to know your abuser. And so many of those people like live among us, are people's family members that people like had no idea about. So not knowing is not like a personal like failure or of ignoring of any sort of like red flags. Like that's just how our society is that like it's not hard to blend in.
Right. All right. You're up.
Dear Meghan and Melisa, I need help settling a debate between my boyfriend, 25, he, him, and I, 24, she, her. We've been together for 2.5 years and been living together for 1. I'm a teacher, so I'm currently at home this week on winter break, relevant because I'm not usually home during the day. Yesterday, I did some of our laundry, and when he got home from work, I was finishing the last load. When I was putting it in the dryer, I noticed that his AirPod Pros were in there too. I felt bad, and I told him immediately. He wasn't mad, but thinks I should have checked the pockets of his pants before washing them, but I assumed that they were ready to go because the pants were in the hamper about to go into the washer. Also, this is the second pair of AirPods that have gone through the washer the first time he was doing the laundry. So I'm wondering if I'm wrong for not checking the pants before washing them. Should I replace the AirPods? Would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. I've got feelings on this. I think that it's like low-key, I kind of think it's equal responsibility. Like, I think like if you don't empty your pockets and you put them in the hamper, like 50-50 chance that it's going through. And like, you can't blame anyone else but you. But if you're doing the laundry and you don't check the pockets, I also kind of think that you didn't all the way do the laundry. And if that's the case, just do your own laundry then. Like, that's something that I will empty Matz's pockets if I'm doing his laundry. But if I don't want to do that, I'm not going to wash them. And like, it's doing a thorough job. You can only really do a thorough job when you were there for every step of the process, including like taking the clothes off and like throwing them in there. So I think in that case, it's not a nice gesture to do someone's laundry if you're not checking the pockets. But I also think that if they don't empty their pockets when throwing them in the wash, then they kind of they don't really have any grounds to be upset that it went through the wash. So like, it's kind of sticky.
I agree. I think, it's his fault, but it's also your fault because he should have emptied his pockets first. But also part of doing laundry is checking pockets because you never know what's actually in your pockets. It could be a pin in there that could explode in the washer. Like there could be anything. You could even, find a $5 bill, finders keepers. But there's just a lot that laundry is so annoying. Like it's so annoying that we have to do this. Somehow I ended up on laundry TikTok and I saw this girl that like has a bar of specifically formulated soap that she like shreds up and then cleans her jeans with this brush. And I was like, you're doing too much. And
but that bar is $1.
I know.
It's nice,
but also to me, the jeans look the same. Like she's like, this
fair.
Was washed through. And I was like, the jeans look the same to me. But anyway, as far as replacing them, I go 50-50 on it. But again, it's still his fault too. And I think he's looking for some place to give the blame to. Because he's already done this before.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I think 50-50 if he hadn't done it before. But you're on a teacher salary. And unless he's on a less salary than you, I think the fact that he's done it before kind of makes it so like, no, I'm not going to pay. That's not my responsibility, to pay. Like, because he could have just as easily done the
same thing again. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, the solution here is like, if you're going to take the responsibility of doing someone else's laundry, you have to do the full job. But if you're going to let someone else do your laundry, you have to do your job too. So like both equally at fault, but I don't think that you need to offer to pay for it. I think if you have the means to pay for half of it, like sure. But if you don't have the means, like I think it would be like an overly generous gesture that like you don't have to do.
All right, you're going to take a break. All right, now it's time for But Are They Wrong? aka Rachel of the Week, aka Woe of the Week. This is where we pick someone in the world that is awful and present them to you all. And mine this week is deserves all the shame there is.
Oof.
Mine is Akon, the singer. I don't know when the last time he let out a song, but he was a guest on Joe Budden's podcast. And as men with podcasts, we know how these things go. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, but most of it's a quote, but then I got tired of transcribing it. Man don't create life. Man, we're gods. We're the ones that create life. A man right now can create a life without a woman, but the woman can't create life without a man. Men are the kings and divine of this universe. Women can never compare to the man. Women don't create life. They support the creation of life. He kept going on, but that's where I stopped it.
Does Akon have a womb?
That's where I was getting at scientifically. I mean, he's talking about cisgender people, so we're going to talk about biologically people that have uteruses. All we need is sperm. Like, and then that's it. Where is he going to grow a baby?
You need an incubator, buddy.
He did say I could put my sperm in an incubator, but you're still going to have to get the eggs from somewhere, and you need an incubator and eggs. We just need sperm. So who is really really needs who?
Did Akon unintentionally say fuck gender roles and fuck the binary? Because okay, yeah, for sure. But just, did he watch Kyle XY? Where is this coming from? Does he think he has he will have a vat of amniotic fluid? This is a sex ed has failed again.
Yes. Yeah. So Akon got locked up. They won't let me out. There's just a lot of things about this man that I just don't want to know. And this is one. He disappeared for a while, but for some reason he's back. I don't know if he's promoting anything, but I'm not buying what he's selling. I'm just like, Akon. He also used his brother and cousin to, when he was booked for live events, and would just send them because they look exactly like him. So yes, smarter, not harder, but still, he's been scamming people for years.
Oh,
and they just lip sync his songs.
Oh my God, it's not even just appearances. It's Melisa.
No, actual performances.
Well, here's the thing, Akon, that's actually sad that you're not famous enough that people wouldn't really know the difference. And
they do. I will say they look exactly alike, but still, I'll send you a picture.
Still fake fans if they're not even. Wow. You know what I need? I need someone to do this desperately. I need someone to do a Netflix special that is sex education for T.I. and Akon. I just need I need Z-Way to bring these men on her show.
Oh, yeah.
And
That would
she
be
could
perfect.
CRT with those parents. I need her to do sex education because what? Yeah, I'm here for being inclusive in our terminology, but I don't think that's what you meant.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're just really confused. Do you know where babies come from? I feel like he thinks that you poop out a baby. I'm waiting for him to say something about a stork.
I just don't understand.
Yeah. You'd think for these men who are all about spreading their seed and furthering their line and all of that shit, you'd think they'd publicly hate women a little bit less when, you need someone with a uterus to carry this, and or you do a quick little Google search before you just talk like that.
There was a point where he disappeared, and the reason why he disappeared was he said it was because, he had enough money, and then he went to Africa and was providing electricity for all these countries there. And I was like, okay, cool. Take your money, do what you need to do. And then he pops back up with all this nonsense. And I'm like, Go back. Go do your
Give them
philanthropy.
electricity. Like, come on. Like,
Right.
we don't need this.
Mm-mm.
You suddenly decided that this is more important. Honestly, sometimes men make themselves such easy targets for ridicule.
Yeah.
I don't know if maybe they don't know they have Google as well. Or do you think the alpha male means that like, oh, Google is programmed in my mind. Like, I don't need to Google shit. Like, I just know it innately because testosterone.
Exactly. That's exactly what they do.
It's really wise. As someone with a uterus, I hope one day I can have someone with a penis carry my child.
Right.
Wow.
Agreed.
Okay.
Well, your turn.
So I would like to nominate someone who I could have nominated her. She stays busy. She stays controversial. She takes no days off on being an ultimate piece of shit. Brittany Dawn. Woo, woo, woo. So
No clue who this is.
I've known her name and I knew her face. She looks also a lot like that girl who like filmed her kid crying when their dog like almost died, or I think the dog ended up dying, and then was like posed for a thumbnail and it's like, wait, no, look more sad. Like, so they look the same. It's a fine mix up to make because, you know, they're both shitty. But Brittany Dawn has been an influencer creator for a very long time. And I wouldn't say that like she's controversial for clout or attention in the same way that like Trisha Paytas and like Tana Mongeau are. Like, I would say both Trisha and Tana have had controversies that are accidentally problematic and then ones that are intentionally problematic, crafted for attention. This woman is just living her life, and she just also happens to be a horrible fucking person.
Okay.
So I'm going to start with, I think this like 2019-ish, just to give you a little bit of context and background on her and why people really don't like her and how these have all been public controversies. So like this isn't like her personal life before she like had social media notoriety. It's important to note how easy it is to find that this person has done all these things. So the state of Texas sued her. And this is the first time I really heard about her because she started like a fitness consulting business where she claimed to be a specialist in eating disorder recovery and called herself like an ED warrior as well, and saying that she was helping people with eating disorders with her specialized diet and exercise plan. And the Texas Attorney General is suing her, accusing her of misleading customers with eating disorders and promising customized nutrition and fitness plans while pretty much giving everyone the exact same plan. The fees are like almost as high as $300 a person. And she said it was all personalized, not personalized, and also said there'd be like regular check-ins and individualized feedback, which also, again, never happened. Also, she charged shipping fees when all of the documents and all of the content that you get is digital, which is just what a bull-faced piece of shit scam. So then she eventually apologized for fans and then offered refunds to the customers, but required that in order to get a refund that they would have to sign a non-disclosure. And then when people like lost it, she was like, okay, never mind. So weeks after that, and so she'd been like fitness, wellness, mostly fitness like space prior to this. But a couple weeks after all of that shit came out, Attorney General, she announced in a YouTube video that she was going to pivot from health and wellness content and instead said that she felt her quote unquote identity in Christ and her social media profiles change to focus solely on Christian content. And when we're talking about Christian content, we are talking about problematic white woman Christian content. So, you know, the faux quote unquote like relatable sort of things like that kind of format, like the Lele Pons, like, you know, Facebook video, but for white Christians who probably also subscribe to QAnon theories. Like that's the genre. So she also runs a women's retreat where she and her husband baptize women in bathtubs, cost about $2,000. She also celebrated publicly over and over again when Roe v. Wade was overturned. These are some other random, just to give you more context on her. She starved and neglected a whole horse. Not that it's okay regardless of the size of your animal, but like a horse is not a pet. That's an expensive thing and not everybody owns a horse. And that's like like, okay. One of her pets also routinely like just disappear. One of her dogs, quote unquote escaped in their backyard and was injured. So her husband, who is, I think, was law enforcement at the time, but he might have already been ex-law enforcement at the time, just shot the dog. And again, we know this. Like, it's not because TMZ followed around. Like, that. This is the stuff that she shares about her life, which takes us one step closer to the current grift. Throughout 2021, she documented her efforts in helping a homeless man named James. So she said that he had visited a church to donate the only money he had left, which was 15 cents, to sign it as a goodwill. And she was so motivated by this gesture that, you know, she and her husband were like, oh, you know what? Like, we have to take him in. Like, this is a sign from God. And they gave him food and shelter, a place to stay, clothes, all while convincing him to join their specific church. And then in December of this year, which is how I saw this TikTok, Harriet Burholtz, aka Leave It to Harriet on TikTok, basically talked about how at this time, Brittany Dawn started a GoFundMe fundraiser for this man, James, back in 2021, to raise money for to receive treatment for his addiction and at a rehab facility. The campaign raised more than $25,000. But the facility that he was sent to is free. It's a Christian free rehab center. There were no medical experts on staff. And it's claimed that the subjects its inpatients to, quote unquote, forced labor as a way through working through substance withdrawals. So, and then apparently, after James had completed this program, Brittany cut all ties with him and no contact. So this is, I think, from an interview that he did where he is revealing this information. And then to add icing onto the cake, suspiciously, only a couple months later, she had an incredibly lavish and expensive wedding. And some might say it seems that some of that money might have come from there. So this takes us to today. She's been very open with her fertility struggles, and she shared that she had a chemical miscarriage in April. And then in July, she talked about how she decided that she wanted to foster. And then in October, she also had another miscarriage. And I just want to say, large disclaimer, I'm never going to accuse anybody of like lying about this. And I've seen some people are like, oh, she was probably lying about this. You know, bad people have miscarriages. Good people have miscarriages. Fertility struggles and trauma is very real, regardless if you're a good or a bad person. If you're a bad person and you have suffered multiple miscarriages and have fertility trauma, it's going to make you an even worse person. Like, that's going to fuck you up even more. And that's not something that I garner. It sounds fucked up. I don't garner sympathy for people who are already shitty people who then weaponize their circumstance to double down on being really fucking shitty as an excuse. Like, there are lots of people who are not able to have children who don't do these things. Mm-hmm. So she announced that she's fostering. People have a lot of valid criticisms to the fostering agency, basically saying that like there's no fucking way they did the due diligence and let her and her husband foster a baby. So here's where we get to her husband. Her husband is a former Kansas City, Missouri police officer who was sued by the ACLU for using excessive force against a black man in 2013. So she responded to someone's comment on Instagram about this, saying, "My background check came back perfect. Thank you. I'd be cautious believing everything you see about someone on the internet. A gossip forum and especially manipulative news stories."
News stories.
You know, because, you know, him getting fired, like for sure. Mm-hmm. Also, I don't think he was even fired. I think he got a severance package and was like gracefully let go, as they do. Yeah.
And the ACLU just, you know.
You know, those grifting ACLUs.
You know, they just took time out of their everyday because they have so much, you know, targeted attacks. No.
They've got so much fucking free time. And people have just said how she's been conducting herself as a foster parent. Like, she's filming, but like, you know, cutting out the foster child, which, yes, is what you're supposed to do. But she also apparently like posted a photo with the family. And I think she only blurred the kid's face, which is not okay. Some might let you do that, but it's like morally, not. It's a very gray area. And like, I mean, morally, it's a very black and white area. And legally, it's more of a gray area. But it's not like, oh, yeah, this is for sure allowed and people are okay with it. She also is posting all these like affiliate links for like the baby stuff that she has. She posted a video like crying about like, oh, like when you're ready to be a mom and like you're going to have to like give the baby back. And it's like, well, yeah, it's not your baby. Like fostering, the goal of fostering is the ultimate goal is reunification when safe and able, like, or placing a child eventually then in family. Like it's having a foster child going to a random person. Like if you're doing this, like, oh, like I'm just like testing out these babies and like shopping for which one I'm going to adopt. Like that's not what fucking fostering is. She also has included personal details about the infant on TikTok, including that they're suffering from substance abuse withdrawals. So, or I guess substance withdrawals.
Yeah.
So the theory on Reddit is that she went through a anti-choice organization that has pressured a parent to give birth and that they will take care of the baby because as much as like CPS has a lot of issues and, you know, sometimes they focus on the wrong things and they don't catch the right things and severely underfunded. And like, it's just, no one has like a amazing, perfect experience with CPS, even people who work there. So sure, it could have slipped through the radar, but like it didn't. Like there's no way that this was through any sort of legitimate non-denominational organization because like this is, you Google her and this is the first thing that comes up. So feels also very intentional that the implication is that the child's birth mother is dealing with addiction and therefore is going to go to someone who has definitely not had a background check or was thoroughly vetted for this because they're maybe not thinking that that birth mother is going to check in and stay on top of all of this. Like this is just so, this screams alternate organization with shitty and really sketchy intentions. Okay, that's it. We hope you enjoyed the episode. Write in for our segment. Also, don't forget to vote on our Instagram. I am pretty committed after this week that you're listening to this episode, I'm committed to, this is officially my new year. This new year, new me. No, I'm just like, I'm thinking this is going to be the week that everything's on time and I'm going to be done recovering from my 24-hour road trip.
Yeah, I don't even know if I'll be ready yet. I think it won't be
Melissa,
next
if you're
week,
not
it'll be
ready,
done.
I won't be ready until you're ready.
But I'm not back in LA yet. So
Oh, yeah. So we've got a couple more days. So just know that by the time that this episode comes out this week, I'll be back. Okay, everybody?
I don't get back till Saturday. So then I still need like a week to settle in when I get back. And you know, I was sick before I left. So I didn't get to do all my like deep cleaning and stuff. Like my house is in array. Like it's messed up. So I did enough to clean the kitchen because you can't leave kitchen stuff. But yeah, it's just going to be a minute for me to just get settled back in.
Well, let me know whenever you're settled back in because I'm just going to wait until you're ready because like, why would I get ready if you're not ready yet? Like,
yeah.
Why do I need to rush into things?
Yeah.
I don't want to be hasty.
Yeah.
Okay.
All
Shall
right.
we circle back next week?
Let's circle back.
Circle back. Bye.
Bye.
But Am I Wrong is a production by me, Meghan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMont, plus Diamond Imprint Productions.
Post-production by Coco Lorenz.
And production assistance by Melanie D. Watson.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something you should know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a co-founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. During her journey, Isla meets new friends, including King Arthur and his Knights of the Round Table, and learns valuable life lessons with every quest, sword fight, and dragon ride. Positive and uplifting stories remind us all about the importance of kindness, friendship, honesty, and positivity. Join me and an all-star cast of actors including Liam Neeson, Emily Blunt, Kristen Bell, Chris Hemsworth, among many others, in welcoming the Search for the Silver Lining podcast to the Go Kid Go network by listening today. Look for the Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa Dumonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
And Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.